Hello. Welcome to Soundings with Sash. So, tonight we're going to be talking about our Valentine's Day hangover. What is that? What exactly is that? Do you guys know? Well, I am going to have a relationship coach on with me tonight just to kind of talk about it. See, I figured I'd do a little bit of hearts, a little bit of love song, but it isn't always like that, is it? So, we're going to talk to him and we're going to bring him on. Jason Mayer from somewhere. And I will bring him on in just a second. Hello.
Whoa!
You disappeared for a minute. So
I thought it just put you off there.
my. All of a sudden he was there, then he was gone. So hi, welcome. So welcome to Soundings with Sash. Good. So we're talking Valentine's Day. And everybody, okay, so I know that you had a Valentine's Day show. So why do you think there's such a hype about Valentine's Day to start?
Well, look, I do agree, and thank you for having me on the show for starters. Again, I love being a part of it. Look, I do agree to a certain extent. There is always that commercial hype. I'm not going to deny it. You can't deny it because you see restaurants put their prices up 30%. You know, flowers are up more expensive. Everyone else, and especially right now because of the way the situation has been for the last 12 to 18 months. There's a lot of people that lost a lot of money, and they need to make try to recoup some of their money back. So that does happen, but it's the expectations we put on it. And as you and I discussed, being the the Valentine's Day hangover, there are people out there that set their expectations for Valentine's Day like they do with expectations for relationships, expectations for everything. And a lot of them don't get met. The unmet expectations is one of the biggest heart-wrenching disappointments that a lot of people go through. And they sort of think, well, it's the day of love, and then they get their interpretation. So each individual's interpretation of love, and each individual's interpretation of how the day should be. It's like, a wedding. It's like all those special moments. You have some sort of expectation of how you would be. Right. And then if it doesn't meet it, you come crashing down. Right. You get that high, like, oh, we're going to go out to dinner, or we're going to do this, or we're going to do that. And it doesn't go as planned, and restaurants are booked, or like even here in Melbourne, we went into lockdown 3.0 or 4.0 or 23.0, whatever it is. Right. And you're like, oh, okay, well, I guess we're not going to do that.
Right.
So it's trying to have a bit more, having each other on the same page for starters, and that's for couples. And then there's also the hangover for, the single guys and girls who just, like, oh God, do we have to hear everyone else's posts on social media, how wonderful their, Valentine's Day, where, oh, they're in love and everything else. And you're like, well,
yeah, that's hard. I decided to look up because I'd heard Valentine's hangover before. So I knew that there was some definition out there. So I'm going to go over about a couple scenarios of what a Valentine's hangover is. In the Urban Dictionary, there are two definitions. Something has happened on Valentine's Day, and therefore you are depressed for a period of time afterwards. So you have a Valentine's hangover. What bad could happen? I mean, what would be a scenario that bad could happen? And they gave one. Yes. And
we got 2 hours to talk about this.
Yes. And so, yeah. And so what was in the Urban Dictionary, which was surprising, is their scenario. Why are you, Molly, this is Molly. Why are you so sad? Daniel says, it was Valentine's Day yesterday and my girlfriend dumped me. So does that happen really? I mean, you're a relationship coach. Have you heard that on Valentine's Day?
Yeah.
They get dumped on Valentine's Day. Why? What in the world?
Or before. Again, it's expectations, and Valentine's Day is only 6 weeks after the new year starts.
Yes.
And they haven't just thought the day before Valentine's Day, I'm going to dump them. They haven't thought that. I tell you now, most of them have been thinking about it since the start of the new year.
So they do it on Valentine's Day.
No, well, they sort of, I think sometimes from my experience with the clients I've worked with that have been at the other end or have done it or have heard friends that have done it, know someone who does it, they get through Christmas and New Year and they're like, oh, I don't want to dump them, I don't want to end it right now. I shouldn't say dump them because sometimes it's just not right. And they go, well, right. And for them to make the decision at the start of the year, they're like, well, it's a big thing. I want to start the new year right. But there's some people who get through the new year and there's the pressures of Christmas and New Year where, you got family and the stress and you're trying to get over that Christmas hangover. And then you start the new year. And there are some people that like, oh, I should have done it before. And they're like, oh, it's bloody Valentine's Day coming up. And I don't know. And it's usually sometimes they might go, look, I'll give them one more chance. And it's not about what they do on Valentine's Day, but it's leading up to that. And and because it's the day of love, and it's not just the day of love of celebrating love, but it reminds you of what you want in a relationship and what you don't want in a relationship. And it does these things, even though I say a lot of the times Valentine's Day is a day to kick those people in the ass who have not shown appreciation for their love by taking them out to dinner, because they might be busy being mums and dads with kids. They might be busy with careers. They might be busy with it. And we'll do this. And a year's gone past, they haven't done it. Well, it's Valentine's Day. You better do it now, dude, because, you better do it now. Other days, so you better do it tonight, And there's that. But also, you get busy with that. But at the same time, it makes you realize the love you want and the love that you're not getting.
I see.
And it's not always that person. There's sometimes people will separate from that person.
Right.
And they'll realize going into the next person, the same thing happens.
Right.
And then you've got to go, okay, I'm seeing a pattern. Why is this happening?
Right.
Because you're not clear on you're not clear on two things. You're not clear on one, what your definition of love is, and two, what your definition of how to be loved by you. And most probably it's because you don't love yourself enough and you're expecting the love that you're not giving yourself from someone else. Right. And if you're not getting it from someone else, then you're like,
you still don't have it. Yeah. You still
I'm
don't
going
have
home now. I'll get my drink. I'm happy.
Well, I want to say hello. Hi, Mary Louise. Thanks for joining, and Amy and Tom. And Tom says, is it ever a good time to have that difficult conversation? You're right. It's always a hard conversation, but it's always a need, like you were saying, you run through the holidays. You're like, oh, this is not a good time. And then you get to January and you're like, oh, now they're going to be depressed for the new year. I don't want to depress them. And then you get to February, the first week of February, and you're going, oh, well, now do I do it before or after Valentine's Day? Yeah. So it's really just pulling up your panties, your big pants, and do it. I mean, it's a conversation that's hard, but why is it hard? If you've not been communicating well, obviously that conversation's hard anyway. But if you've had good communication, there should be some indicators by that time, because if the holidays didn't stress you out with your Well, anyway, so can you see me? Yes, I know we went down for a second, and it could be the rolling power outages in our area, because it's like the frozen tundra right now. It's like minus whatever. So if this goes out, I apologize and ahead of time. So if you all of a sudden see us blank out, it's because
we've had enough. We're going home.
The power company decided we needed to be gone. So anyway,
the power company had a really bad Valentine's Day and want to punish us for it.
And they're dumping me. They're dumping me particularly.
Can I say, Tom's got a point there, and Mary Louise is kind of touching it too. It isn't the nicest thing to do it on Valentine's Day.
But
what Tom is saying it is correct when it comes to ending a relationship. There is no
No,
good
there's no
time
easy
to
time.
do it whatsoever. If anything, Valentine's
Hard.
Day hits harder because someone is struggling with what they're not getting. And as
Yeah.
you said, there's communication. There are levels of communication, and still, if it's not clear, and girls, please don't hint to guys. Guys are not very good at taking hints. Can I tell you that? Hints, you can put a washing basket in the middle of the hallway. You're just going to step over it and keep walking and go, why is that washing basket there? So communication is not about how good your hints are. It's how
You mean
clear
you
you
can't put the
are.
washing basket out and they know to put it away? What?
No, they'll
You
just move
just
it out
blew
of the
my
way.
mind
Like
with
someone could
that.
trip on that. What
You
the
just
hell?
blew my mind with that. I didn't know that. Oh, I totally did not know that.
You have to treat us like 5-year-olds. If you do not put your washing in the machine, then take it out of the machine and hang it on the line, you'll have dirty clothes for work tomorrow. So, but no, seriously, there is no certain time. I had a client a few years ago who, and again, Mary Louise might find this a bit hard, unfortunately. He left his family after 20 years, 3 days before Christmas. Now, I was at the place that he rocked up to with just a sports bag of clothes, and that was it. Now, that sounds like a cruel thing to do, but at the same time, you think, okay, that's a nasty thing to do and whatever else, and the same with Valentine's Day. But there are reasons being. Now, I'm going to use this person as an example because they were married for 21 years, and his partner had kicked him out numerous times for the silliest things. So he never left. He never did. He'd put up with it. He'd go, he'd come back, he'd go, he'd come back. And I don't need to go into the circumstances, the reasons why. It was a very rough relationship. But they had 4 children. So
Wow.
you've got 4 children, plus you've got the 2 parents. You've got 6 people. Then you've got Christmas, Mother's Day, Father's Day, Easter, and then 6 birthdays. So whenever he was ever going to leave the
There's never a good
relationship,
time. Yeah.
it was either going to be before, on, or after one of those multiple days throughout the
That's
year.
true.
And
It's never a good time.
if you keep putting it off and going, oh, I don't
Yeah.
want to do it because it's, Mary Lou's birthday coming up, or it's John's, christening day, or
Right.
it's Easter, or, there's never a good time. The good
Right.
time to go is when you have gone as far as you can go and you go, I can't do this anymore. And that's when I guess people have ended it on Valentine's Day or on Christmas Day or on where there's a lot of pressure put on you to perform. And when I say perform, I don't mean sexual. I mean Christmas Day. You rock up, you want it to be good. You want everything to be fine. But if people,
family time and all that.
yeah, if
Yeah.
there's niggling things there and comments made and then someone gets alcohol involved, it blows it. Same
Right.
with Valentine's Day. There's a lot of pressure. You want to tie it up and you want to make sure your partner's happy and enjoys it. So you might buy some flowers, but you've got to make sure it's the right place. You might not like roses. He might not like tulips or whatever, or buy this. And what if they don't like that and they don't like this? And then we get to the restaurant and then there might be a 45-minute wait at the restaurant. And then you look at the bill at the end of it because they've charged you 30% on the meal on top and then they've charged you 50% tips and everything else. And the next minute your bank account's empty and you're going to have to try and scab money somehow. So many getting there on time.
It's a terrible thing.
Yeah, there is a lot of
a scenario I had was I suggested that a reservation be made before that time when I knew that we were going to do that with an ex-partner, and they decided to not do that and said, oh, we'll be fine. And we get to the restaurant and it wasn't fine. So do you think I was fine?
I don't think you were fine. And I think you used the word fine the way most women use fine. I'm fine. Yeah, no, this is fine. This is freaking fantastic. This is, I'm so fine.
This was fine. But see, that's what's so bad about that is like, there's so much hype going up to it that even I was thinking ahead going, it's Valentine's Day. We probably need a reservation. You should probably do this. Don't you think? Hint, hint. I didn't just hint. I actually said it, so there was no hint. It was pretty direct, but then the person didn't follow through because they thought, it'll be okay. We'll get in. I know the person. I know the person that owns the restaurant. It'll be okay. it wasn't okay. It was not okay.
And
But
if
the
it was
problem
okay,
is
if
that
they knew the owner,
it took away, but see, now look at that. So what was my heart like? Like,
yeah.
I wasn't being very appreciative or have any gratitude about that, was I? I was being a little
No, but at the
spoiled
same
brat.
time, you knew you knew what was
I
possibly going to happen.
did. I did. But
Even
at the
if they
same
knew the
time,
owner, even if
yeah,
they
I
knew
mean,
the owner, it might have been you guys because it was so busy. You might have been
yeah,
sitting at the little table chairs out behind the kitchen with, near the garbage and everything else. And you
right.
sort of then you can I say this, and you can correct me if wrong. Then you're thinking, really, do you really love me or have respect for me or this relationship when you're not even putting the
Right.
effort into making a call and
But
booking?
see,
What
that's what's
what
so
why could
bad.
we do that?
But that's what's so bad is like because we make such a big deal about it, that actually caused an argument. That actually caused conflict. So did I have a Valentine's hangover after that? Yes. Even though I got flowers and I got chocolate and whatever, because of that, it caused a little conflict between the two of us. And it's like, did that really need to happen? And that's why I wanted to talk about this because I think that we do put the wrong focus on what it's supposed to be about. So
Can I ask you something there?
yeah,
And you don't have to go into detail because it's a personal story.
yes,
But yes, you weren't happy that didn't go well.
right.
But when you thought about it, you said, don't you think you should book? You're already questioning it. Now, I would say this is based on history, and based on history that this person wasn't very good at doing this sort of stuff. Now, if they were always very good and they went and they didn't do it and they forgot, it didn't go bad, would there be an argument as much if everything was fine and dandy? So my question would be, was it just that, or is this something that has occurred or reoccurred numerous times and has built up, and it's just another thing that happened that you went,
Yes.
we go again? So
Right.
is it a one-off or something that happens on a regular basis or has happened quite often?
Very good picking up on that, relationship coach, considering that no longer with that person as a partner. So I would say that there were some other issues that were alongside of that.
Yeah.
Yes. So the thing is though, is that it
That's
did
when it
set us
ends on
up.
Valentine's Day.
It set us up for, some kind of a little bit of conflict. But what about the single people? So, and Tom, I didn't mean to not comment on what you said. There's subtle signs, and he got dumped on a cross-country flight. That's rough.
A cross-country flight?
Uh,
Man, you're stuck on a plane. You can't go anywhere when that happens. That's
not good. No.
At least wait till he got off the plane. I mean, you're on the plane and you find out, and I don't know if you're with the person, Tom, or not, but if you're with the person, oh man, because you don't want to cause a scene, so you're like,
well, right, and
would have been the quietest flight ever.
Maybe that person was obviously avoidant, had an avoidant personality. So, hey, Heather.
Why?
Thanks for joining us. We're talking about Valentine's hangovers. So, and so for the single
people. Yes.
For the single people. So for the single people, I know that people kind of get depressed and all of that. And in this Urban Dictionary, it was talking about that. It's just a period of time that you're just feeling depressed because maybe you don't have a person in your life. Or like they brought up that they got dumped on Valentine's Day. So, for the single people, I know Heather was organized a ladies' dinner to cheer up her single lady friends, which was really, really sweet of her. And, I thought that was nice. That was a nice thing, and somebody brought chocolate, somebody brought, flowers, that kind of thing. And that was really nice to cheer everybody up because I mean, I don't know why we put such a significance on it. Like I still have I know half people say it's commercialism, half people, and like you said, if they haven't paid attention to their partner for a year, it's a good time for them to focus on it, right? On love. So what do you have advice for the single person with the Valentine's Day hangover today?
Again, it's similar to the couples, but it's probably a little bit easier, is to reassess who you are. Don't beat yourself up and go, well, I'm single on Valentine's Day again. Why, what, and whatever else. Sometimes it's a good time to go, okay, why am I single right now? And you might not know, and I don't mean that in a bad way, but I mean, maybe you haven't sometimes dealt with issues that have been hidden underneath, and you're trying not to deal with them, so you just move on and forget about them, but they're going to keep popping up. So maybe it's a good time to go, hey, let's readdress those, because the energy we're putting in with not dealing with them is causing me more grief, and I'm missing out on happiness and heartache because I'm not dealing with it. Or it might be you've chosen to be single for a while and you go, okay, well, I've been single for a while and I've been able to achieve what I wanted to achieve, either by career or just taking a break from me for a while to find me or to rediscover me or whatever else. And then go, okay, well, do I want to go and, start looking for someone? It's also a bit of a wake-up call just to say, okay, where are we at? At the end of each year, I say between Christmas and New Year, you should always sit down and just reassess, okay, how did this year go? Okay, 2020 was crap, but what did I learn about me? What did I learn about life, how I handled things and stuff?
Right.
And you can learn from those moving into the new year. Well, it's the same with everything. If you're willing to just go, okay, I've been single for a while, I need to find out. Sometimes it might be there's just not enough talent in the area. Maybe it's your expectations are a little bit high. Now, don't use the word picky.
I was going to say expectations is a sketchy word too, though.
Yes.
Because that's what I found. And I'm just going to highlight Lance. Hi, Lance. Valentine's Day equals Single Awareness Day.
Yeah, well, yes, you could do that.
Hey, Larry. So yeah, if you're single, I mean, that is when you're like, oh yeah, I'm single. Yeah.
Yeah. But don't take it as don't beat yourself up about being single. Many times it may be, as I said before, it may be, and I know I joked about it being a lack of talent, but maybe it is a lack of talent, or maybe your expectations of
a lack of talent. Explain that. Lack of talent.
Well, there's just a lack of prospects for
okay.
Partner. Instead of just going, okay, they need to be, because some people will go, okay.
Do I have to do a singing and dancing audition? What?
No. But I mean, like, you might go, hang on a sec, I just got to press something that keeps beeping in the background. I don't know.
Okay. Oh my. There's beeping happening back there. So anyway, a lack of talent. See, that's the difference between where he's at and where we are on what our terms are. American lack of talent. I'm thinking, the Idol, American Idol, The Voice. The lack of talent. Do I have to sing and dance? Really?
No. You might get to a point where you go, okay, I'm off all men or I'm off all women. I'm not going to do it. But then you got to go, okay, I'm going to start looking again. I had someone reach out to me recently, an old client, and they said, oh, what do you think about dating apps? And I said, well, dating apps are the same as meeting someone in a bar. It's a numbers game. But
I think they're worse. That's my opinion.
Well, it is, because you can't see. Well,
you can't see them.
You can't see them, but at the same time, you can't see a person when they're out in a bar either. You see them, but you're seeing a very good mask a lot of the times. You're seeing a very good persona that they're putting on, that they want to.
They showered, they put on makeup, they did their hair, they did all that.
Exactly. They've put in a lot of work to do that. And you get to a point where you go, But what happens is, if you go, okay, I want someone between 5'10" and 6 foot. They must be brunette. They must have this type of hair. They must be this way. And if they're any more than 4.5 miles from my house, forget about it. Because sometimes you might find someone who's a few more miles out of that, a few more 100 miles out of that, a few more 1,000 miles out of that, and is willing to move. Yes, and move. And if you might get to experience something with someone, even if it's online for a couple of weeks or months, that you are not going to experience with someone right next door Or it might
Yeah.
be someone next door and you've been avoiding looking for next door and you've looked, in the next
Well,
suburb or a few streets
and I
away.
did that. I did that in online dating. I only picked the height requirements were in there. I had a very, very short, I had a list of things. And after dating online for a while, I threw the list out. My expectations and all of that kind of went out the window because I thought, I could be missing out on a really good person just by this physical attribute or, their location, like you were saying. So,
But it's still good to have some of those lists. Like there are
it's
things
fine.
that might be, I mean, if you're, a tall person and you might go, seriously, I've dated a couple of short people. It just doesn't work.
Can't. Yeah.
But you must, I say, aim for 70% or more of what you want. So if you've got a list of 10 things, if they tick off 6 to 7 things, give them a go. Don't expect to get them 9 or 10 because it might be 9 or 10s and they might be at first look what you think they are.
Right.
But I understand the things, and I always say to a lot of my clients, you have to have, if you're not quite sure what you want, I bet I could sit down with you for about a half an hour and you could rattle off about 200 things that you don't want. I don't want them playing PlayStation all the time. I don't want them to be unemployed. I don't want them stealing out of my purse. I don't want them with no running water at home. I don't want them with a criminal record. So you do a list that I got a clarity exercise I give people, and you can put all the negative things of what you don't want on one side, then on the other side write the opposite. Because two things happen with that. One, you then go, okay, I don't want that, I don't want that, I don't want that, I don't want, I don't want, I don't. Your brain doesn't hear don't. It just hears criminal record, PlayStation, unemployed, and it's like, oh God, this is it. But if you go, I want someone who works a proper job. I want someone who has quality
So
time.
you're saying define what you do want, not what you don't want.
Exactly.
Okay.
Once you
Heather
clarity,
said earlier that was her list that you were
yeah. And,
okay. Yeah, I started a new.
Amy.
Exactly.
Well, look at that. Health.
Very
Now,
good.
see, you've done a reassessment of self and gone, you know what? I want to be happy. I'm going to do the things for me. I don't need someone to buy me dinner. I'll buy it myself because I know what I want.
Right.
I don't need someone to buy me flowers because I'll probably buy the wrong flowers and they'll smell. I want the flowers I want. I might go run a bath. I might pour some candles. I might drink the best bottle of wine that's been sitting in the cupboard for a year, aging. And I'm like, oh, man, now this is the way to spend Love Day on me.
Yeah.
Excellent. Good work.
So Jason's been listening to her conversations.
Sorry, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, okay. So what about the person? Okay. So now we've covered the single people. What about the married people that are just kind of, I mean, Mary Louise said that she was a Valentine and kind of sad. I remember being in a marriage and kind of sad about my Valentine's Day. What do you suggest to them? I mean, what do you think it was that was missing?
It's kind of an evaluation day, but also it's a kind of a day for you to go, what are we missing? What haven't we done? Because you remember when you despite how the relationship ended or how the relationship right now, when you first met the person, did you look at that person and go, hey, Sandy, see this girl over here? I'm going to ask her out and I'm going to marry her. We're going to have 6 kids. We're going to be miserable in 20 years. I'm not going to stand the sight of her. She's not going to stand the sight of smelling me. Oh, it's going to be so wonderfully depressing. No. What you do is you look at the person and there's something about that person you like. And sometimes when you're married, sometimes you have to go, you know what? We need to do something for us. And a lot of the times after 20 years, not always, but a majority of people have got kids and they're not the Tom and Louise anymore. They're not the, Stacey and Dave anymore. They're mum and dad or husband and wife or the worker and the homekeeper or whatever it is. Mm-hmm. And they've got so many hats. They forgot to be the Jan and Dave or the Jay and Sandy or whoever the people are. And that's where you've got to go, you know what? we need to, and if you think Valentine's coming up and you're like, oh, what's he going to do? Dump some flowers on the bench and go and fall asleep on the couch
Well,
watching.
I actually got, I actually did get engaged on Valentine's Day.
Well, there you go.
So, well,
Did
right.
you ask or did he ask?
Huh? Oh,
Did
he
you ask?
did. He did.
But
But
I
I had an inkling that he might, and when he didn't at the restaurant, I was a little upset because I like left the restaurant because I had an expectation, because somehow I had an idea. Well, what it was is that the person wanted to take me to a location that was, you know, significant. So right, and I was, you know, kicking the can, so to speak. So
you're in the car, he's driving to a location, and you're like,
fine, just fine.
yeah, dinner and that.
Yeah.
No, I wonder who.
I did. Oh, I did the pouty, the whole deal. Yeah.
You like, oh, I'm fine. I'm fine. Just drive home. Just get us home. I'm fine.
You know, but the thing that I found interesting about that, people that get engaged on Valentine's Day, and my sister, whose birthday is on Valentine's Day, she also got married on Valentine's Day. So
happy birthday to your sister for the other day too.
Yes, happy birthday and happy happy anniversary and happy Valentine's Day. And we all said, why did you do that? You know, you just jibbed yourself out of, you know, all of these other holidays, you know, like now you just get one thing.
Easier for him, so he'd remember the anniversary date. That's what happens.
It's her birthday and anniversary and Valentine's Day. That's a triple. That's a triple threat.
Flowers.
That's a triple threat.
Love, but I don't have to do it for the rest of the year.
Yeah. But I mean, so for me now, okay, so Valentine's Day comes around. Well, guess what I remember?
Your sister's birthday.
Well, right. Yes. Right. But I also remember for myself. Yeah. I also remember for myself that I was engaged on that day. So it's almost downhill from there, right? Like Valentine's after was just never was like, oh, okay. I mean, with that person. I'm talking about with that person, you know? Yeah. So it was kind of like, it was always a hangover, Valentine's Day hangover, because nothing could now, that expectation had been set, right? So,
yes,
so you know, it was downhill from there, you know, and I think that that's just so silly. And that's why I wanted to talk about it, because it's just another day. I mean, I watched one of your videos that talked about Valentine's Day. Oh, yes. He's got one out there on YouTube. You guys got to check out his YouTube channel. It's still out there, right?
I haven't taken any down, so it's
okay. It's about Valentine's Day. He's even dressed up in a tux. But anyway.
Oh, that was with young Otis.
Yes. Okay, so let's see.
Michael.
Michael. Hi, Michael. So we're talking about Valentine's. We want to know what you and Tina did for Valentine's Day since your birthday.
Michael, what did you do?
I know, because does that mean your birthday? No, his birthday I think is the day before. But you know, how do you? What do you do about that? I mean, in your video and that video that you were talking about it being hyped up, and that it kind of was not. You know, do people actually meet the expectation? Because listen to me, who's being like a brat, going, okay, I even got engaged on that day, but yet the Valentine's days after, then I was disappointed. How silly is that? Like it's almost like you don't win. It's like
well, again, you don't win because of the expectations.
You've
got to be clear on your expectations, and even then, sometimes we set expectations too high, and you've got to ask yourself why. What is that? It's fulfilling something.
Right.
You're fulfilling. If you expect something to be a certain way, it's saying you're demanding. If you're demanding because you're wanting something to meet what you want. It's meeting something what you want because you've never had it, or it's been a long time since you had it. You've got to ask yourself why. And look,
and you're watching Hallmark too much. Hallmark movies. Don't watch them. I'm just telling you. I'm giving you really good advice here. Do not watch the Hallmark channel. Sorry, Hallmark.
I'm a big fan of, there's a show years ago, The Wonder Years, and there was
Oh, I like.
Kevin and Winnie. Well, I follow Winnie Danica McCullough on Instagram, and she
Right.
seems to be always doing Hallmark movies. So when you say that, they're always loving and romantic, but that is what happens. Is we build that up, and you've got to realize it's like there's shows on. I think you guys have got it at the States as well. Shows like Married at First Sight, The Bachelor, The Bachelorette.
Oh yeah. Oh, now you're talking Heather's language.
Yes, come on, Heather.
Chime
You know what
in,
I'm talking
Heather.
about.
Chime
So
in.
what they're doing is they're setting.
I think it's on tonight.
They're setting up. It's Heather's show tonight. It really is. Where you're setting up an idea of how you things to be. Now, for The Bachelor, for example, find me someone who has $1 million house that's single that is going to. I mean, all right. Let's explain it this way. If someone said to me, "Would you like to meet a guy or a girl of your dreams and be happy?" You go, good. If they met you in a bar and took you out to dinner, great. What if they rocked up in a limousine, picked you up, took you to $1 million house with 19 other women, and they had to choose between you and 19 other women? Would you enjoy that? You'd be like, hell no, I ain't. If I'm not first, I'm out of here.
Exactly.
But people watch that.
Yeah.
And they think
Heather,
it's okay.
you got to chime in on this.
19 other women pash and make out and tell their intimate dreams.
And they're in their evening dresses. Yeah. Come on.
You might wear one of those evening dresses once a year, maybe twice a year, if you like it, or once a decade. And these girls are wearing it at every party. And then you're sticking all the alcohol in, and there's the bitchiness, because it's not about love. There's nothing about love.
Well, that's entertainment.
Shows, Married at First Sight shows. It is about drama. And what happens is that drama does tend to fall into normal relationships, because now everyone has an expectation. Oh, well, this is what happens. And you're arguing about the silliest things. And I'm like, where'd that come from? And then like, wasn't that on last week's Married at First? Oh, because they've done it. You're reenacting. No. There's it's called reality TV because it's so unreal. And I don't mean unreal like, yeah, man, this is unreal. I mean unreal as there's nothing real about it. It's all staged. It's all made up. It's all about getting drama, so you get all the bitchiness and grab those grabs and put them in the media.
Well, yeah. Well, it's entertainment. It's yeah. So Michael said he got bossed around.
I like that.
So our lovebirds, she bossed me around and I bought her flowers. Well, that's nice, Michael. Him and his wife.
She probably went, hey, go buy me some flowers. I want 12 flowers. I want them here by 5 o'clock. Yes, dear. Yes, dear.
Hey, look who it is. Hey, Rosie. Hello, Rosie. Yes, she probably did. I think she probably did.
Then you take me to bed and you make sweet, sweet love to me. And it better be more than 30 seconds. You do that. Yes, dear. Yes, dear. No worries. Because they're only recently married, so they were still in that honeymoon period.
They're in the honeymoon phase. That's nice.
And Michael's like, yes, I like it when she takes control of me. Yes. He's thinking, yes.
Now that's a whole nother show there, Jason. I'm just saying.
Yes.
So again, the Valentine's hangover. So today, after the big Valentine's hype, I mean, let's just talk about long distance wise. What does that look like?
Why would we talk about that?
I don't know. What does that look like in a long distance type of thing? Well, there's Heather. Well, you are behind on my game. What? Yeah, every day is Valentine's Day, really. Oh boy, how many brownie points did you just get? Listen to me, I'm such a cynic. How many brownie points, Tina? Tell me, how many did he get for that one?
Yes. No, look, look, I've not always been a fan of long distance, but I also appreciate that if you're single, let's be really honest. If you're single, you've got to ask yourself why you're single. Now, it could be, as I said before, by choice. You've been burnt too many times, and you're like, you know what, bugger this. I'm just going to stay single for a while. But then you get comfortable with that. Now, if there's an opportunity to meet someone and they are at a bit of a distance, you go, well, I'm single anyway. It's not as if I'm losing anything, but I might start to connect with someone. And you might connect with them and then the connection might end, or you might connect with someone and it builds into something. But you've got to ask yourself, one, why you're single, and reassess. You still want it? Does that still serve you the way you want? If it
Right.
does, great. If it's not, and you're starting to think, well, it would be nice. What harm does it hurt to try and see if something would happen a little bit further, or you meet someone in another state or something, and you think, well, and you say to them, be clear that, okay, I'm open to long distance, but not 2 years or whatever, and not so far away and everything. Whatever you want, and you think, well, I could fly there, they could fly here, and then after a while, we might go, wow, this is really working, and this is great. Again, there's a honeymoon period, and you've also got to. You think about moving in together. There's a lot of things you will see, and I think I had this discussion with you or someone recently about moving in. If you're going to move into a house with a best friend, it's not always a good idea because you're best friends, but you then see things you never see before because you're going to meet them and you're going to go, okay, we'll move in together. And they leave their washing on the floor. They leave the toilet seat, messy. Their bathroom is cluttered with stuff. And you've got to realize there's a lot. So don't be afraid to communicate that. Have those conversations. Even take them around your house while you like that. Don't just let them see you all prettied up and looking nice and whatever else.
Right.
You might see them when they're going to bed at night, how they go to bed or they get up. See the things that you're going to see if you're together. And you'll find like, oh, okay, he's a little this or she's a little that, but okay, it's not too bad. It's not great, but it's not too bad. And you can say, yeah, I'm a bit more of a neat freak. I'm like this. Then you're working out, okay, if this is worth doing and continuing on, or let it go and move on to something else. Don't deny yourself just because they're not in the same town or city as you. Don't, because if you're single, you're by yourself anyway. You're doing your own thing. If anything, if they're in another state or wherever they are, they're not affecting your life as much, but they're there and you're getting to know them and you're starting to open up and starting to understand what you want and don't want.
Yeah. Well, Mike says you could be single because you're crazy. That's a nice thing.
Well, yes, that could be
you
too.
Could be. Yeah, it can happen.
But there's a definition for crazy. Are you crazy like, or are you crazy like, wow? And I'm like, and you're so full of life, and people are like, man, I can't keep up with you. And also, I will, and there's quite a few people watching right now who are extremely, and I'm going to be it's not sexist, but you'll understand what I mean by right now. There are a lot of beautiful women out there that you think, oh man, they're going to get dates all the time, and they never get approached whatsoever. And sometimes they're the ones that have the least amount of dates and the least amount of happiness because guys think they're too intimidated and they're, yeah, I don't know if I can handle it. Guys, I'm going to give you a tip right now. Pardon the language, grow some balls and go up and say hi. Don't use stupid lines. Don't use come on lines. Go and say hello. Go and have a conversation and, talk to them. It can't hurt because you might find that this beautiful person, and they might be beautiful to you and not to everyone else because it's all about your own likes and dislikes.
Yeah.
Take the chance. Go and say, don't play games. There's all these games, and you watch those reality shows. It's all about, the games we're going to play, and I've got to manipulate it this way, and no. Don't need 3 days before you contact them again. You don't need to do this. You don't need. Just be you. If you're a bit nervous, it's going to show.
Well, there are so many challenges to dating now because it's not like when we were young. It's not. No. It's very, very different, and there's different rules. Even it's like ghosting is a thing. Ghosting is a thing.
Ghosting was around always.
Well, yes and no.
We've named it something.
Well, yes and no, because it just seems like there was a little more etiquette before, just a little bit more, just possibly more, and have those hard conversations. If you're in the dating world right now, just be bold enough to say, listen, I don't, if you didn't hit it off, don't ghost the person because the person, is going through their head, well, what did I do wrong? They'll replay that date and think, what did I do wrong? What did I say wrong? Just say to them that will ease somebody's mind and say, hey, I just don't think that we were a match, and that says it all. Like, I just didn't think we were a match. And if they,
You
and
might be
sometimes
choice-
they'll follow up and say why, which I've had that happen because I'm the type that would say I don't think we're a match, and they would come back and go, well, why? And I'd say, well, I think your views are different than mine. I think we come from a different place, in whatever subject matter it was. So just be confident enough in yourself to say who you are and stay who you are. Don't meld into liking whatever that person was saying. I think it's important, to keep your own identity. And if you're dating and you're not fully whole and you've got some broken places, surely don't go dating right now. Work on yourself, focus on healing in here, before you step out into that, because that is going to be a domino effect. I mean, you're going to walk out there, and if you're an insecure person, your insecurities are going to be just crazy, amplified. Okay.
Yeah.
An insecure place is a terrible place to start dating. Like, it's
Especially
just
if you add alcohol.
and that's another place you shouldn't
more.
be. If you drink too much alcohol, you probably shouldn't be dating either. So just saying,
No, but some
I'm
people
saying
do
a lot of these things out of
nervous.
experience, I might add. So, hey, hello. I see that there's new people joining us. Hey, Matt. Hey, yeah, I had to haggle him into being my co-host tonight. So,
so I'm a fill-in. I was second or third place, was I?
Yeah, I'm sorry. So Greg, hi Greg, thanks for joining us. So is there a new website, notamatch.com? Actually, speaking of websites and new dating sites, there is going to be one in the mix, right? Right, Michael? Michael knows about it. Okay, I think that's my problem. Yeah, no, that's not your problem, Matt. First of all, you're married. Secondly, you have a lot of confidence. I don't think insecurity is your issue.
No, he's a very confident. But hey, again, he may appear it, but he might.
Well, this is true.
One way, but they're like
I
little
like
dogs.
what Amy was here when she was talking earlier. She's working on her health. She's working on getting herself somewhere. When you're working on yourself, there's no need in entering into the dating relationship. And I did that wrong. I mean, I'm going to admit, when I thought I was ready, but I wasn't. It's funny how you kind of kid yourself and you go, oh, I'm fine, I'm ready. But really, that 18 months, 2 years after you have after breaking up in a long-term relationship, that's a good gauge. That 18 months, 2 years, you really do need that time to yourself and to heal and to find, what you like and all of those things. Not find yourself, so to speak, but discover all of those things about you that is true. Being your authentic self.
That find yourself too is something that was used. It's more an 80s term, 70s, 80s term that used. And rediscovering yourself is the same thing. But what it is, and I've got a program I'm about to release coming up soon for people that are going through a breakup. There's things you need to do to get back in touch with you. And one of the biggest things, to start with is having a level of acceptance, accepting that, that it has ended and you did what you can, but you've got to stop beating yourself up about it, because you can't undo something that's done. And it may have been there all along or due to happen all along. And you may have been delaying the inevitable, that it's got to a point where, something has happened to go, you know what? All right, well, I've made the decision. But once you get to an understanding that where you are, then you can start to work on you. You can start to rediscover yourself. You can start to go, okay, well, I was with that person for 15 years and they were into guns and games and sport. And
is that what I like?
I wasn't into any of that.
I like that. Right.
Yeah. And you go, okay, so what do you like? Well, I like paddle boarding. I used to horse ride when I was a kid. I never used to horse ride anymore. Now we're getting somewhere. Go and try those things. Because sometimes if you start to rediscover yourself, and like what Amy's doing, which is a fantastic thing, once you start doing that and rediscovering yourself, you start doing things. You don't need to go dating as such. People will come across you because you might be you're having, it might be horse riding or paddle boarding, and you're out there paddle boarding, and you'll see other paddle boarders, and then you might do it every Saturday, and you see the same person. Next minute, you get talking, one thing and another, you got similar interest. Next minute, you're like, wow, I wasn't even looking for anyone. The reason being is because you were so happy in yourself doing what you wanted to do, what you loved. You discovered things that you're like, man, I love doing this. It now has attracted someone who also loves that and is similar in field as you. And then you're like, how did you meet someone? Oh, I went on 20 dating sites before I found this. Well, what about you? I just went paddleboarding down the road and, or, snowboarding or fishing or
kayaking,
at the grocery store, kayaking,
camping, all that. I mean, I realized I loved camping and kayaking and all that, and I hadn't done it for years and years and years. And I finally was like, I'm doing it. I'm like, when I was single, I was like, that's it. And by myself, I'm like, I'm doing it by myself. I don't need another person to validate that I like to do that. You have to validate yourself. The validation is in here. The validation is validating you, who you are, and what you like to do.
If you do that, you don't need anyone else's approval to do certain stuff. You don't need validation from anyone else because it's not about them. It's about you. You don't buy a dog to get validation. You buy a dog because you want to share your life with someone.
I want a dog for validation. I actually don't want a dog right now. It's sub-zero temperatures. I don't want to take a dog out. Yes. So, okay. I need indoor plumbing and Wi-Fi. So no camping for me. Oh, no, Matt, you're not a camper. Right. Okay, you lovebirds. I'm heading to work on the graphics for my show. Catch up with you later.
See you later, Dr. Love.
Fine. Yeah, Dr. Love. Dr. Love. So anyway, wow, we're almost out of time. Any questions for either one of us? I'm not a relationship coach. He is a relationship coach. I want you to get empowered in your relationship with yourself. If you're in a hangover situation today, whether your day didn't go the way you wanted it to, that expectation was wrong, you ate too much chocolate. I don't know. You drank too much champagne. I don't know, but liking yourself and being whole in yourself is always going to add upon anything, and is going to add into the relationship with someone else and with yourself. So, okay. Listen, Matt's got a dog. Okay. My dog Tinkerbell will validate you. That's good. I'm awesome. That's awesome. So what if today, things didn't go? What do you have advice for them? What if, the person's just disappointed and they're thinking, well, maybe I should break up with this person because they didn't give me the best gift or it didn't go the way I thought it would go. What's your advice for them?
You gotta ask yourself, what is it that's really going on? What is it you really want that you're not getting from the relationship? And ask. And maybe you got to communicate. Are you communicating it to it? Have you ever communicated what you want? And and this happens a lot, people get into relationships and it's not really with the person they wanted to. They happen to be the person that was there at the time. It happens a lot. Oh, well, I was at a bar one night and they were there. I met them at groceries and we were talking and one thing led to another. And, I had that whatever to fill. But anyway, you've got to sort of go, well, is that what you want? Someone said to me, I think it was, I can't remember where it was, but it was said, if you're dating someone, you should be dating someone for the future, to marry them or to be with them for life. If you're dating with them, but don't have that expectation, what are you dating with them for? Are you just doing it for the sexual purpose? Because there's other ways you can do that. And what do you think the other person's going to feel if that is the case, that you're doing it? And then they find out, well, they were just a bed buddy. They weren't actually a relationship, or that you didn't really care about them. How do you think they're going to feel when they realize that? And how would you feel if they were doing that to you? Now, I know a lot of guys who go, oh, I've been used. Yes. No. Because you know inside that you really want more, but you're just saying, well, it'd be nice to use. It'd be nice to feel.
Oh, yes. Because I hear men say that all the time.
Yeah, I know. Oh, it's so bad. But no, you've really got to sort of sit down and really, it's like we only live once. Doesn't matter if you're 20, 30, 40, 60, 80, 90. You only have a certain amount of the time. Do you want to be wasting your time with someone that isn't of the same interest to you, and you just really don't? You might say you love them, but you and I discussed the other day, you might be just do not like them.
Yeah.
You love someone, but if you don't like them,
Ooh.
don't waste your time.
Why would you not?
Seriously.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're wasting your time. You're just going through the motions. Yeah. This is Sharon. This is this is Sharon. Hi, Sharon. Say hello to everyone.
Hey, Sharon.
Or whatever. It's like, what are you doing? What is the purpose of what you're doing? Is it just because they keep the other side of the bed warm? Are they filling something you need filled? Leave that to your imagination, whatsoever. But you've got to ask, is that what you want? Because even if it's something that's filling something you want filled, down the line, especially for the girls, you are going to get emotions for that person. And then when that person goes off with someone else, you're going to feel good about it?
Yeah.
I don't think so. No.
No.
So you've got to ask, what is your long-term goal? You just want something for the short term? Fine, do that. That's your choice. But don't beat yourself up in 6 months' time when that person leaves and goes off to someone else and you go, oh, they left me again. It's like, well, hang on a sec. You never made it clear that's what you wanted. You made it clear that let's just be bed buddies or whatever you want to call them. And you just wanted to do that for the time being to get over your ex or whatever else.
Right.
You've got to start to look in the mirror and be happy with you. Do what it takes. Don't be afraid. The energy you put in avoiding not doing that, you only have to use a quarter of that energy to do it, work on yourself. That makes everything so much easier. Right. But you spend so much energy avoiding it. Like, oh no, I don't want to talk about that. I'll set that up so that doesn't happen.
Well, people
this worked out so this doesn't happen, so I'm right. No.
But a lot of people are scared of the confrontation. So they don't like conflict. So they'll just go along in the motions of a relationship like that just because they don't want the conflict or to bring it up. They don't want to hurt the person.
What do you need conflict? What do you have to have conflict? Why can't you say, look, if you argue about it, fine. But if you say, look, it's just not working. And if they go, oh, what can I do? It's like, we've been together this many years. You've never done it. And I'm not expecting you to do it. I don't want you to do it. Right. It's just I've now realized that's what I want. And I'm not going to get that. I'm not going to go buy a dog and expect it to be a cat or a horse. Does that make sense? Yeah. So, you've got to decide, do you want the cat or the horse or do you want a dog? Yeah. And then once you realize that your partner's not the dog that you want, or you've just got to say.
You just got to tell them.
As we said at the start, there's never a good time to end it. So you end it when you just went, I can't do this anymore. This is not for me. And they have to. The other person has to accept it.
That's right.
So you argue about it.
You were that you have a program coming up, and isn't that the topic of it? When it, it'll be on your page. It's a program that you'll have.
It's a program I'm putting together called the A to E to Breakup Recovery. And what it does, it helps. For example, I had two sisters that worked, I knew years ago. One had been separated for 4 years and was miserable. She would destroy every relationship because she was still crushing on her ex and she was still hoping to get back. Her sister split up after 15 years of marriage.
Right.
Last 5 years weren't that great, but they split amicable, but she was still hurt. But she came to see me and was working with me. And I did these steps with her. Within 9 months, not only had she recovered and got through the heartache of the relationship breakup, she also knew exactly what she wanted. She also knew who she really was finally.
Right.
That then she met a guy about 9 or 10 months into it. They started dating about 13 months into it. They were married in 2 years. They've had 2 kids, and she's as happy as Larry. The other sister, she's still miserable. She's had relationship after relationship after relationship, but she refuses to do the work because she's hoping, she always says, my first husband was my first love and everything. She hasn't come to that level of acceptance, which is the first stage of the program.
Do you recommend a time period, or is it just by person and situation?
It's by person, by situation. But if you're willing to do the work, you can get through it in a quarter of the time that most people do. I know people that have been single for like 10, 12 years.
Yeah, me
From
too.
their last relationship. Some of them have eventually found love, some haven't, and it's because they're still holding regrets, still haven't accepted what happened when it ended. And if you
Wow.
don't accept it, and when I say accept it, I don't mean, well, okay, I accepted he cheated on me and I'm a failure, and it's not like that at all. It's
Right.
acceptance of what happened.
Closure. Right.
Yeah, it is
Closure.
a form of closure, because
Right.
when you break up, you're going through a form of grief.
Right.
If someone passes away, you're grieving for them because you've
Right.
lost them, you loved them, they're gone. It's the same with in a serious breakup. It's a form of grief, and if you
Right.
don't deal with it the same way, you'll be living with regret and living in that grief for years. And
Right.
that's the bad part about it.
And I feel like forgiveness has to come in there somehow.
Yeah,
And
totally.
there's a level of forgiveness for yourself and
Yes,
for the other person. And
yes,
no matter what they did, and I know people go, well, they did XYZ. You're right. They did. And you're
yeah,
right. They were wrong.
yep.
However, for you to get peace, you will have to forgive them, because that's going to give you peace. You don't even have to tell them you forgive them. You have to forgive them to unlock that peace that you need. So forgiveness is huge in that. And
Yeah.
forgiving yourself is very huge in all of that too, because sometimes, it was you. So, I mean, you have to forgive yourself as well. And so you have
Otherwise,
to
you
go through.
beat the crap out of yourself every day. And what's that doing you? I
Yeah.
should have did this. I should have did that. I should have, could have,
Yeah.
would have. As Anthony Robbins says, you should all over yourself. But
You
at the end
should
of
all
the
know
day,
yourself. Yeah.
it's like I've had clients recently. I spoke to one recently earlier this week, and the whole call was about, all the dramas that happened. And I went, can you see what's going on right here? You guys
Right.
have separated, but you've just spent the last 45 minutes talking about all the things that happened over the last 10 years.
Right.
And you go, you see what
You
it's
guys
doing?
didn't. Yeah.
It's bogging you down.
Yeah. There
It's
wasn't
bogging her
forgiveness.
down so much that she can't focus on anything because she's
Right.
so focused on all the things that went wrong. And it's like, you
Yeah.
haven't got to that level of acceptance. And until you do, you're going to
Mhm.
continue. You're going to see him in the street. And you're going to go, then he did that. Oh, he's wearing that shirt. Last time he wore that shirt, we had that argument about this and that. This.
Right.
That's not serving you. It's
Well,
not helping you at all.
right.
It's a relationship hangover, not
Yeah.
just a Valentine's Day hangover. It's a relationship hangover.
Well, and
Years.
there's pride in that too. So there's
Yeah.
there's a lot of layers to, like
Yep.
you're saying, the grieving even is forgiveness and pride and ego and all of that. Because I mean, some of us, and I know of people that stay in relationships longer than they should because of their ego, because of their pride, because
Yeah.
they don't want it to look like it was failing. It was a failed relationship. I mean,
Yes.
and that to me is a whole different layer. But okay, where there are some people. Jason, is Sandy a cat, horse, or a dog? Really? I put that up there, Michael? Oh my. I'm not sure. I don't know what you're going to answer with. That's kind of putting him a little on the spot there.
You're everything. You're reliable. You're adorable.
Oh, you were setting him up good, Michael. Okay. It's the Sandy and Jason show. Oh, the Sandy and Jason show. I didn't know. Hi, Christina. Nice to see you.
I think that's a spelling mistake, and she's not saying there's a sin in this show. That's
So yeah. Anyway, I just wanted to do the Valentine's hangover, because some people after Valentine's Day may be thinking about breaking up with their significant other or partner, or they were just disappointed by the whole thing, or they're single and they're upset about it.
Oh, yeah, there's a lot of that.
And again, it again turns back to yourself. You have to be happy in here. And if you put expectations, and I mean, maybe you do need to make those decisions of breaking up or whatever. And it is hard, but you'll find that peace if you do it and confront it. And if you're single, just maybe your guy's right around the corner, or maybe he's 8,000 miles away. Don't know. You don't know. So
You never know, do you?
you never know. And that's the way that goes. So let's see. Christina's going to say, you guys are dynamite. Have to replay. Oh, thanks, Christina. But
Thank you,
we're just talking about the Valentine's hangover. And maybe you just have the hangover today from, drinking too much wine or too much chocolate. And that's a whole nother show.
Yes.
So we'll talk about that. Anyway,
Yeah.
Jason, thank you so much for joining me on the show tonight as my pop-up
Always.
guest. I call you my pop-up co-host because I didn't plan on having a pop-up, but I was like, I might have someone. And he was nice enough to say that he would come on with me. So thank you guys for joining me.
Others by the sounds of it.
After I asked others. Sorry. Yeah, my whole Facebook audience. But besides that, so great, Amy. I'm so glad that you joined us. Thank you.
Thank you guys for coming.
And let's see. I wonder if Jason is dating you to get to me. Oh, what is that about? What in the world?
Burn!
Oh man, he busted us out and everything. And
He
then
knows my secret. That's it now. That's it.
no, the yeah.
God,
Yeah.
do you have to ruin it, dude? Oh man, seriously. I don't know.
Oh, I don't know what I'm going to do with you guys. Anyway, so thank you guys. You guys are always so wonderful in interaction. And I hope anybody that saw this on the replay hit hashtag replay, subscribe to both of our YouTube channels, JMC Coaching, Simplified Relationships. Is it under that, your YouTube? And then mine is Sash Coaching. And I appreciate you all. And thank you, Jason. I appreciate you coming on as a pop-up, and there you are. Anyway, Michael, and I will talk to you later, Michael. Anyway, so thank you guys, and have a wonderful Monday evening. If you're in this area, don't freeze. And if you're down under, go swimming or something. Have fun down there. Y'all are
On
lucky.
the other state of Victoria, you've got to stay inside if you're in Victoria. Trust me, we're in lockdown.
Oh, that's right. They're in lockdown again.
In the bathtub.
Yeah. So praying for you all this week. Positive vibes coming out to you. Have a wonderful week. Thanks. Peace out.